For decades, I thought worrying was responsible. At 85, I finally see what it really was. It was how I postponed my life while waiting for a future that never came. I didn't stop worrying because things worked out. I stopped worrying because I finally understood what worrying had already cost me. And it wasn't money. It was years. I'm 85 now. I've lived long enough to watch the same mistakes repeat in different bodies. The same fears, the same rules, the same sentence people tell themselves. I'll relax when things are settled. I believed that sentence for most of my life. I was very good at worrying. Quietly, politely, in ways people praised. They used to call me careful. I thought that was a compliment. I didn't realize careful can slowly become a cage. When my children were young, my worry followed them everywhere. Not loudly, internally. I worried about whether they'd fall behind, whether one wrong decision would ruin everything, whether I was shaping them correctly. I packed lunches with one hand and worst-case scenarios with the other. One afternoon, I remember sitting at the kitchen table sorting school forms into neat piles. Permission slips, emergency contacts, insurance papers. My son stood across from me, holding his baseball glove. He asked if I could come outside and watch him practice pitching. I said, "After I finish this." He nodded, waited, then went outside alone. By the time I finished being responsible, the sun had already gone down. I don't remember what papers I completed that day, but I remember standing at the window, watching him throw the ball against the garage door with no one catching it. Worry told me I was protecting his future. What it really did was trade a moment I could never get back. I grew up believing this equation: security first, life later. So I saved, I delayed, I postponed. I skipped dinners out, trips, small joys that felt unnecessary. I once walked out of a travel office with brochures still in my purse because the numbers didn't feel safe enough yet. My husband wanted to go somewhere simple, nothing extravagant, just quiet. I said, "Let's wait one more year." One more year became 5. 5 became 10. When he got sick, we told ourselves we'd go after treatment. When he passed, I found the brochures folded in the back of a drawer. The money was still there. The time was not. That's when I learned something no one teaches you. Saving isn't the problem. Saving everything for later is. I cared deeply about being good employee, good wife, good mother. I followed rules I never questioned, said yes when I wanted to say no, stayed quiet to keep things smooth. I once stayed in a job I hated for 12 years because it felt irresponsible to leave. Every morning, I sat in my car for an extra minute before going inside. Not because I was late, because I needed to brace myself. I worried about disappointing people. about being seen as ungrateful, about choosing wrong. At 85, I can tell you this. No one thanked me for staying silent. No one rewarded me for being careful with my own happiness. The only person who paid the price was me. The moment it finally broke through for me didn't happen during a crisis. It happened with an envelope. One of those official-looking ones. Thick paper, typed address. The kind that makes your stomach tighten. I didn't open it right away. I set it on the counter and spent the rest of the afternoon worrying about what it might say. I worried about bills, about mistakes, about consequences I hadn't even been given yet. I replayed conversations in my head, imagined problems that weren't real. By evening, I was exhausted. When I finally opened the envelope, it turned out to be nothing urgent, nothing bad, just information I already knew. I stood there holding it, and what hit me wasn't relief. It was this. I had just spent an entire day suffering over something that never happened. And suddenly, I saw my life clearly. How many days had I done that? How many hours had I given away to futures that never arrived? That was the moment I understood. Worry wasn't preparation. It was rehearsing pain in advance. If I'm honest, there was one fear underneath all of it. I was afraid of getting old and not having enough. Not enough money, not enough health, not enough independence. I worried about becoming a burden, about needing help, about being afraid in a small room with no choices left. So I prepared, and worried, and prepared some more. There was a number I carried around in my head, the amount I thought would finally make me feel safe. If I reached that number, I told myself, I'd relax. Every year I checked it again, adjusted it, raised it, because something always changed. Prices went up, stories scared me. Someone always knew someone who ran out. One night, sitting alone at the table, papers spread out, calculator quiet, I realized something frightening. No matter how close I got, I never felt safe. The number grew, the worry stayed. And that's when it hit me. I had spent my healthiest years preparing for my weakest ones, and I was afraid in both. Worry didn't buy me security, it just charged me time. Planning is wise, saving matters, but living in fear doesn't protect you. Worry promises safety, but it never delivers peace. It doesn't stop you from getting old. It just makes you old before you have to be. And when you finally reach the age you spent decades worrying about, you don't wish you'd worried more. You wish you'd lived more before you arrived. There's a chair in my kitchen that never gets used anymore. It used to be where my husband sat. He'd drink his coffee slowly, complain it was cold, then forget about it. I used to stand at the counter, worrying about what still needed to be done. Some mornings, he'd say something to me, and I'd answer without really listening, already thinking about the next thing. Now I notice the chair. I notice it because nothing sits there anymore. And I realize how often worry kept me standing when I could have sat down with him while I still could. I'm 85 now. I don't have guarantees. I don't have perfect answers. But I know this: no amount of worrying in your 40s will make your 80s painless. And no amount of fear today will give you back the moments you don't live. So if you're worried about the future, about money, about age, about what might happen, plan responsibly. Then close the folder, put the worry down. Not because everything will work out, but because this moment is real and it's already yours. Do what you can, then live now, not tomorrow. If stories like this help you see your life more clearly, subscribe. Not for motivation, not for certainty, but for reminders from people who waited too long to stop worrying and finally chose to live today, not tomorrow.